Welcome to the Beauty in Battle podcast, where we talk about winning in marriage by waging a war. I'm Jason Benham. I've got my girlfriend / wife, Tori Benham, with me, and we are here to talk to you about how Satan tries to get you to fight face to face with your spouse, but God designed you to fight shoulder to shoulder against Satan so that you can win in your marriage. Fighting together draws you together. We cannot wait to jump in. So here we go. All right, I'm excited about this episode. I've kind of been waiting to do this. I've been wanting to talk about the emotionally intelligent marriage for a while, but I knew we had some other podcast episodes we needed to get through first. But today we are talking about how to be emotionally intelligent inside your marriage. Right. This is so good because emotional intelligence, the research is coming out and showing that the people who are emotionally intelligent, or they're calling it EQ, which is emotional quotient, people who are high in EQ outperform people who are high in IQ 70% of the time.
Wow.
So the smart people who know concepts and who know things
right.
can't perform as well as people who understand people.
Yeah.
Who understand emotions.
Which makes so much sense to me because that's how God created us, to be relational.
I know.
And for a relationship.
So we're going to talk to you about the 4 different aspects of emotional intelligence, how you can apply that in your marriage. But before we do that, my wife / girlfriend / life partner / soulmate, she's got some things that she really wants to say, and there's some things on her heart. Tell us what's on your heart.
All right. What did the left eye say to the right eye?
I have no idea.
Between you and me, something smells.
What? What?
Do you get it?
Yeah. No, yeah, I totally get
Between you and me, something smells.
Your nose. Okay, good job, Tori.
Where do you find a cow with no legs?
In the meat aisle.
Right where you left it. You can't walk.
Oh, I didn't get that one.
I could tell.
Okay, but it's
okay. Pickup line.
Give it to me.
Life without you is like a broken pencil. Pointless. Did you feel that?
Yeah, I did. That felt good. You should write that on the mirror.
Yeah.
My mirror in our bathroom.
Somebody better call God because he's missing an angel.
Ooh.
I think I threw up
a little
in my mouth.
Cheesy. Cheese ball. Okay, Tor, good job. Okay, air dap. Little fist bump. Okay, we just fist bumped each other. All right, now we're ready to jump in to talk about emotional intelligence. Well, one of our greatest needs in marriage is emotional connection.
Yes.
It's emotional connection. So there was this really crazy research project that was done, and they put a monkey in a cage, and they played loud, like obnoxiously loud headbanger type music, and they monitored the heart rate of the monkey, and the heart rate was skyrocketed. It literally skyrocketed. Like the monkey was just like completely, it was just chaos in his little body, right? Then they turned the music off, they opened up the cage, and they brought him a buddy monkey. And then those 2 monkeys sat right next to each other, and they turned that music on after they closed the cage up. They turned that music on, loud, obnoxious music, and they monitored their heart rates.
Yeah. And
the heart rate of that monkey, who, when he was on his own, his heart rate was just
stressed out of his mind.
Stressed out of his mind. It was cut in half.
Oh,
isn't that cute?
That's cute.
Yeah, but it's emotional connection.
Yeah. We were not meant to do life alone.
No, we're not. That's the whole premise of Beauty in Battle, is fighting together draws you together. Like, you need a battle buddy. You need that. Like, you need a friend. But, obviously we all know the saying, best friends, best married. But to be a really good friend, you have to feel for that person.
Right.
Right? You have to feel. If you don't feel for that person, then you're not really friends, you're acquaintances.
Right.
So how are we going to learn how to manage our emotions so that they draw us closer to our spouse?
Right.
Well, you got 2 parts of the brain. Now, all this stuff is stuff that I've learned. I'm not like the expert. Right. I know, Tor, you think I'm the expert.
Give it to me. Go ahead.
I was waiting for you to say, but you are so smart. But there's two parts of the brain I have discovered, the logical and the emotional. The stuff that we experience with each other, 99% of the time hits the emotional first.
Wow.
So it's like, I come home, and like last night, I got home from watching our son Trey play basketball in Nashville. I walked into the house. Tori had it spotless. It was late at night, and she had these homemade healthy donuts sitting on the counter. There was a candle going, and it was just so inviting. And instantly I felt an emotion, like gratitude towards you. And I was like, she's amazing, that kind of thing. So it hits the emotion first. So we need to make sure that we're managing our emotions the right way.
Yeah.
Now, you want to say something real quick?
Well, I was just going to say, I remember when I was taking the emotional intelligence course, they had each of us write down the people who were the most important, made the greatest influence in our lives. Write down like 3 people.
Yeah.
And then write the qualities in them that come to mind when you think of that person.
Yeah.
And they were all emotional qualities. It was like compassionate, caring. They were all, there was not one person in that class that wrote down the person that that influenced them more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Anything that wasn't emotional. And she said, we are all emotional beings. And it's really, really important that we understand emotions well so we can understand each other well.
Well, then we need to define what an emotion is. An emotion, here's a definition. It's an impulse to act. That's what an emotion is. God gave us emotion. So if we're made in God's image, then that means that he feels emotions just like we do because we're made in his image.
Right.
And so an emotion actually gives power over a person in that moment. So it gives power to a person, excuse me. So emotion gives power to a person.
Right.
So I'll give you an example. If somebody off the street walked in and said, dude, you're an idiot. Nothing that you ever do works. I'm going to say to him, okay, what do you want? You want some money? Well, what do you want? Like, it's not going to bother me.
Right.
I'm not going to get emotional about that.
Right.
But now if Tori came in and said that to me, I would feel it deep. Like there would be an emotion. And that emotion in me would be an impulse to act. And that action would be create that connection with her. If she said that, then we need to reconnect, like I would feel that emotion.
Right.
But what I've done is I've given power to Tori to make me feel that. Right.
Yep. Yeah.
That's why we say, like, remember that old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Well, that's a lie, right? It's a lie.
Oh my word.
It's such a lie. But there is a point where certain people who are not in our inner circle will say things. And we can't we can't give power to them and let them have that emotional control over us.
Right.
In spite of the fact that it might hurt.
Yeah.
It can't destroy us.
Right.
So emotion is an impulse to act. Like anger, it's an impulse. And, anger's purpose, because it's an impulse to act, anger's purpose is to see that justice is done. That's why people feel angry. The only time you'll feel angry is when justice hasn't been done and you need justice done, like something isn't right and you're feeling angry. And so that's why we have to line up our emotions with God.
Right.
Because when it comes to anger, it's got to be that his justice is done. Right? So anger is an emotion with a purpose, and that purpose is to see that justice is done. And so when Cain got mad with Abel, remember that?
Right.
He got mad with Abel and he got mad at him and killed him. So what Cain wanted was justice done, but he defined justice for himself,
right,
rather than God's justice. So what we need to make sure is that we're paying attention to the emotions going on inside of us, because Cain, when he acted like that, he was not very emotionally intelligent.
Right.
Like he probably didn't even realize the anger that he was feeling towards his brother.
Right.
That turned into murder in his heart. Well, when you're emotionally intelligent, it's really going to help you.
Right.
So Tori got her coaching certificate in emotional intelligence. I've done a lot of study in emotional intelligence when I was doing my master's degree, all sorts of stuff, learning about these things. So let me give you a quick definition of emotional intelligence, and then we're going to talk about how you can apply this to your own marriage, and it's going to help you a lot. So here's emotional intelligence, or people call it EQ, like emotional quotient. So your emotional intelligence is the ability to perceive, understand, manage, and use emotions in myself and others to move in a positive direction. And like we said at the beginning, those who are high in emotional intelligence, they will, 7 out of 10 times outperform those who are high in cognitive intelligence or IQ.
Right.
So EQ over IQ all day long.
Right. So there's 4 quadrants.
4 quadrants to emotional intelligence. You want to tell us what they are, and then we'll dive into each of them?
Yeah. So there's self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. So that's the 4. So you've got self-awareness, becoming aware of why I do what I do. Just 95% of our thoughts are unconscious. So being self-aware means pausing long enough to take an unconscious thought and say, what am I thinking about?
Yeah.
What am I feeling right now?
Yeah.
Take a moment to decide what that emotion is, and then, only then, can you manage it. Then you go to self-management. Now I know I'm irritated, I'm angry, I'm sad. What am I going to do with it? Then we have some sense of power with our emotions.
Self-control.
Right.
That's right.
And then social awareness is the ability to see emotions in others, to sense emotion in others, and to label them, to be able to say, oh, I know what that is.
Yeah.
But this is something that's been really challenging for me, is I'm very socially aware. I know what everybody's feeling, but I'm terrible at relationship management because I'm overwhelmed by knowing what everybody's feeling. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like if I walk into a room and I notice that there's, four different girls, and I can sense some of them are really sad, and then some of them, when I read their emotions, sometimes I feel overwhelmed in knowing what I can do, what kind of power do I have in that room? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Those 4 are key. Self-awareness. So if you're in a place where you can write this down, you need to write it down. If not, don't worry about it. I've got it in our book, Beauty in Battle. Go pick up our book at Amazon. But you've got self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. Now, those 4, the first 2 are about me. So it's about me. It's what I can do with me. And when it comes to self-awareness, the Harvard Business Review did a study. Actually, they published a study that was done on the 5 top things that made people successful in business. And the number 1 thing was self-awareness. That those people who were successful in business, the number 1 quality that they all had across the board when they did this research project was self-awareness, where these people understood their motivations, they understood what they were doing, they understood why they were doing it, and they recognized the emotions that they were feeling inside themselves. But self-awareness alone is not really where it's at, because here's and I've done this so many times in Bible studies where I've said the key to self-awareness is God awareness.
Right.
Like God, getting to know God, your creator, is what's going to help you understand yourself, because he created you.
Right.
So diving into the word, diving into prayer, listening prayer, getting alone with him, really just living a life of worship.
Right.
Your whole life is worship, making your work worship. Like as you're growing close with the Lord, he's going to reveal things about you that you never even knew.
Right.
That's
I think of that verse in Psalms that says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there be any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. To me, that's the verse for emotional intelligence.
That's good. What was the reference to that?
Psalms 139:24. Psalm
139:24. That's a really good one. But it is true. Like God knows more about you than you know about you. So this mindset of self-awareness today, and all the books that can help you become self-aware, it's all about you. It's like self-help. Man, a lot of that stuff's going to lead you straight down the wrong path. What you need is to dive in to the Bible and dive into Scripture, and then bring your spouse along with you, and you guys talk about these things that will help you discover what's going on inside of you.
Right. And there's a big difference between self-awareness and self-consciousness.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a really good place to start.
Yeah. Self-awareness is simply knowing what you're feeling. Self-consciousness is knowing what other people are feeling and assuming that they're feeling certain things about you, and therefore you're not able to do or say the thing that you should do or say, right? Because you're self-conscious. It's like everybody else sees this thing and doesn't like it,
right?
Or everybody else heard what I said and doesn't like it, and therefore I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Self-consciousness is of the devil.
Yeah.
It really is. So there's self-awareness, but then there's self-management. That's where self-control comes in. You've got to be able to manage the emotions that you're feeling. We've got this little 3-step process that we teach in seminars that we've done before, where we talk about how to manage your emotions. And you know, one of the first things that you have to do is you have to let it out, right? You've got to let it out, which means don't bottle up your emotions. You do not want to keep your emotions inside of you. There was this research project that was done with these cancer patients, and it was actually a doctor who came in and told people that he had been serving terminally ill cancer patients for like 35 years, and he would always give them a survey that they had to take before they started treatment with him. And he said not one single one of these patients that he's had in 35 years who came in with cancer ever answered in the affirmative, which says they said yes to this one question that he would ask: do you have anyone with whom you can share your deepest wounds and emotions with?
I remember.
And all of them said, no, I don't. I don't have that person. So they were bottling it all up.
All that emotion. And they couldn't share it with anybody. They couldn't get it out.
And it was killing them. So step 1 is let it out. Step 2 is let it go. Like, either grant forgiveness or receive forgiveness. If it's something stupid that you did, ask God for forgiveness and then receive it. Let it go. Like, it's okay, it's done. It's been forgiven. Or if somebody's wronged you, that's where you walk through forgiveness. And you know what? We need to do a podcast on forgiveness, because there's a unique way we look at forgiveness. It's different than a lot of teachings that you've heard in the past. But you got to let it go. And the last thing is to let it happen. When we're talking about emotion, let it out. Let it go, and then let it happen. You know what we mean by let it happen? Create an environment for emotion, and then allow yourself to be drawn to your spouse, because we're talking about marriage here. Like, let it happen. Like, if I walk in and Tori's got slow country music on, the lights down low, a little candle going or whatever, chances are good I'm going to give her a hug and we're going to do a little dance in the kitchen, you know, maybe we'll just dance a little slow dance in the kitchen, you know, and then, you know, if she's lucky, then she might get lucky. So there's always that. Right. But you're creating an environment for your marriage to flourish. So you're letting it out. It's not bottling up emotions. You're letting things go. You're not holding things against your spouse. You know, you're making sure that you are an open book to your spouse. You have to be. So, and then thirdly, you're letting it happen. But that's all in the context of what I would say self-management. Right. It's dealing with the emotions that are going inside you. So you got self-awareness, you got self-management. Those are about me. Right. Social awareness is about you. It's about me being so tuned in to what you're feeling that I'm able to do something about it. Right. It's not me just so focused on myself. Right. And obviously marriages, they have to learn this. Right. You know, and women are typically really good about paying attention to the emotions that their husband may be having or whatever, or their kids. Men, on the other hand, we're just so focused on other things that we don't have time. But I'm telling you, one of the best things that I've ever done is allowed Tori to be my emotional intelligence coach. And she's walked me through these things, not necessarily in like classroom format, but just in our own relationship, and letting her talk to me and ask me questions like, what do you think you're feeling about that? Well, why would you say that? Well, when you say that, do you feel this? I'm like, I don't know, girl. Like, why are you asking me all these things? But she's paying attention to what I'm feeling, and she'll start asking questions. And then it makes me want to pay attention to what she's feeling. Right. Right. And what we have found through emotional intelligence is the Enneagram, because that has been the greatest tool for understanding ourselves that we have used in understanding our motivations. Yeah. And so when we discovered emotional intelligence and we're, you know, just kind of poured into that for a while, we found the Enneagram. And that's when we started to realize, okay, so there is a framework out there that can help us to understand ourselves better and make us more aware. I can become more aware of why I do what I do. And then I can become more aware of why you do what you do. And then we can start working on the management piece. Yeah. That's exactly right. Because you've got self-awareness, self-management, it's about me. You got social awareness, which is about you. And then finally you have relationship management, which is about us. Mm-hmm. It's managing that relationship.
Right.
It's making sure that you're putting the relationship above yourself, that you're considering the other before you consider yourself. I mean, that's scriptural, right? Mm. It's making sure that relationship that you've got is important enough for you to actually work on it. So, but you will not, if you're not self-aware, you're not going to be self-managed. If you're not self-managed, you're not going to be socially aware. You're not going to be paying attention to what other people are feeling because you don't even know what you're feeling. And then you're not going to end up managing relationships well. Mm. And if you do that, if you've got these 4 quadrants going, you will be an emotionally intelligent person. And guess what? It's going to make you a better spouse. But now here's the key, and Tori already alluded to this. You can be self-aware, you can be self-managed, right? You can be socially aware, and you can know how to manage relationships, and you can be a complete manipulator.
Yeah, that's right.
If you don't have the right motivation, which is to know God, make him known, and to glorify God in your marriage and your relationship or whatever, then you're going to use emotional intelligence and you're going to get what you want. Mm. You're always going to get what you want. You're going to know how to make people get you what you want.
Right.
Right? The motivation is the key. That's why Tori alluded to the Enneagram earlier. It's like that's one simple tool that can help you discover motivations, and it will help you get to the bottom of it, especially when it's founded, when you're doing that on the foundation of the Bible and Scripture and listening to the Holy Spirit. But when you've got the right motivation, which is I have given my life so that I can glorify Jesus and I can know God, make him known. And one of the ways that I can do that is have a thriving relationship. I can have a thriving marriage. Right. That's my motivation. Now, because of that, now I'm going to go through the 4 quadrants of social intelligence, or emotional intelligence.
What passage in the Bible I think is one of the greatest lessons on emotional intelligence is Matthew 7, when he talks about first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you can see clearly into the plank out of your brother's eye. Mm-hmm. That to me has been the greatest lesson on understanding people, because it's so easy to look from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Right. It's so much easier to see a situation and to be like, oh my goodness, like it's like the awareness is there. It's like, oh my goodness, I see exactly what they're doing. I know what they're doing wrong. Right.
Yeah.
But what if you paused every time you saw something in someone else that seems so glaring and you're like, do I do that?
Yeah, right. Ask that question.
Do I do that?
Do I do that? Or have I done that?
That will bring awareness very quickly, because 9 times out of 10, you do that. Yeah. You do it different than the person that you're looking at. But I promise you, if you look long enough and you ask that question, God will say, yeah, you do it in this way. Yeah. Like that has been huge for me. It's like, because you and I do some marriage counseling with couples. And a lot of times I walk away and I'm like thinking, how in the world does this, husband not see this, or how, right? And I began to take this verse and be like, no, do I do this? Yeah. And I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10,
you do it.
I do it.
Or your husband does it.
Yeah. Or I just tell you, you do it.
Yeah.
But it has become really helpful. If you can see it in someone else, pause long enough to ask, do you do it? And God will show you. And that brings awareness. That brings self-awareness like none other.
And I love that actual passage, because that passage ultimately isn't just about judging. It's about surgery. And it says, if you want to take the speck out of your brother's eye, and a brother is somebody that you're related to, somebody that you have a deep relationship with.
Right.
You're not supposed to take the speck out of a stranger's eye. Right. But if there's somebody that you're deeply related to, so let's put it in the context of marriage, and you see a speck, the first thing that you do is do surgery on yourself.
Yeah.
Remove the log from your eye.
Yes.
Okay. Then it says you can see clearly to do what? To remove the speck from your brother's eye, which means you have to do surgery on your brother. But you can't do surgery on somebody if they're not willing. So in a marriage relationship, first thing we say is you've got to be willing for your spouse to correct you when you need to be corrected.
Right.
But the spouse, you need to make sure that you're correcting yourself first. That's self-awareness and self-management.
Yeah.
So then when social awareness comes in and you do recognize there's a speck there, you have to be willing to go not as a judge with a gavel, but as a surgeon with a scalpel.
Yep.
That says, let me help you. right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and then
if
in doing
you
that,
have if you've done the surgery on yourself, then you know how sensitive you need
you
to
have to be delicate.
You're like, trust me, I know what this feels like. I just did it.
Yeah. You're like, keep your eye open. Hold on. I'm just going to touch it real quick.
Yeah. But yeah, because it comes with that empathy of, I've just went through this. I'm here with you. I totally get how this feels. And yeah.
Yeah. But that's the emotionally intelligent marriage. So be encouraged. You can be an emotionally intelligent spouse if you operate through self-awareness. You're making sure that you're self-managed. You're paying attention to social awareness, which means you're paying attention to the other people that are out there, your spouse in particular. And then you got relationship management. I mean, these 4 quadrants will help you more than anything when you've done it on the foundation of the scripture.
Yeah. And I would say if you wonder if you are a self-aware person, if you see things in other people and then you pause and you say, do I do that? And you are not able to see it, and you're like, no, I totally don't. You're not a self-aware person.
That's right.
That's the litmus test.
And it doesn't have to be the specific thing. I mean, there may be somebody that struggles with drinking and they're an alcoholic, and you're not an alcoholic, but yet you have something in your life that you struggle with just as bad.
Any addiction there's a root.
Except a chocolate addiction, that doesn't count.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, you could see someone who's an alcoholic and think, oh, I don't struggle with alcohol. Well, do you struggle with any kind of addiction?
Like you can't go to bed without a block of dark chocolate?
Just hypothetically speaking, I'm not.
Asking for a friend. Asking for a friend. Okay. Emotional intelligent marriage. We are done with that now. Tori, let's do I do or I don't. You know what? We're not really doing. Would you rather? That's what we're doing. Give me a would you rather.
Would you rather wear footy pajamas everywhere you go or constantly wear a diaper as pants?
Footy pajamas everywhere you go. Yeah, I'll do the footy pajamas because I can always just put pants right over it. But if you wear a diaper, you're going to hear
yeah,
yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know.
You tell me. I'm going footy pajamas.
I mean, for the rest of your life, footy pajamas.
Yeah.
Or a diaper. I feel like you can cover a diaper more.
Well, I'd have to say, does it sound like you're wearing a bag? like one of those plastic bags from a grocery store every time you walk?
Diaper, final answer.
Diaper, final answer. Okay, I think I might change mine to diaper. All right, that was very important, and we are so glad that you guys chose diaper as well. So thank you for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and follow us on socials. I don't think I've told you to do that yet. At Jason and Tori. And I only put Jason before Tori because J come before T. And there was a website out there that was Tori and Jason, so we couldn't do that. So we had to do jasonandtori.com. So there's that. Until next time, make sure you continue to fight together and watch how you'll draw together.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay.